This poem, my younger brother has autism, and part of what I research now, and part of sort of my life passion and my life's work, is really challenging people to think differently about disability and about mental illness and all these labels we like to put on people's bodies and minds. Because I think part of what having a younger brother with autism and an older sister that's deaf, which I'll talk about later, has just really shown me that human beings come in a variety of forms with a variety of minds, all of which are beautiful. And so this next poem came to me when I was in history class one day. See, this is why I should pay attention in class. I was in history class one day, and I found out about this disease called drapetomania, which was created back in the 19th century. And basically it was, whenever slaves would run away, they'd be diagnosed with this. They were crazy because they tried to run away. It was basically what drapetomania was. And so this poem comes from knowing that in this country we have a serious history of associating illness with freedom, which is something that I think Dr. King would really want us to challenge. So before we go, I just want to leave y'all with this. This is from my little brother, and it doesn't have a title, so if you guys want to suggest titles via Facebook or something, we can set that up, I'm sure. Not really. I mean, you can email me, I guess. Facebook would be weird. It's like a notification. Okay. This poem is so serious, I shouldn't have said that before. All right, here we go. In 1851, Dr. Samuel Cartwright coined the term drapetomania, a disease characterized by the following symptoms. It creates within the Negro an uncontrollable desire to escape. It is a sickness firmly bound to freedom. When I read about Dr. Cartwright, my mind set sail towards the face of my younger brother. 10 years ago, a neurologist cast the word autism like a giant fishing net over his brain and took my entire family under the tide with it. The doctors never used the word gift. Never thought to suggest that maybe Levi's words just aren't rusty anchors like the rest of ours. They're jellyfish. You think you can see right through them, but it's only because you're too fixated on the surface. They keep telling him to think like an assembly line, but his mind is more like the world's most extravagant circus, all trapeze and lion teeth, drumbeat and riotous laughter that could shake the moon out of its skin every sentence, a staccato hymn sung in the midst of a world that has forgotten how to value silence. When did the brain become an appliance? When did we start doing Dr. Cartwright's work for him, turning our children into chattel and our schools into asylums where we medicate based on myth? This is not just about my younger brother. It is about our obsession with normalcy and the wars we have waged in its name. For Christopher Baker, a 13-year-old boy from Lexington, Kentucky, whose teacher stuffed him in a duffel bag and left him there for 20 minutes, a flailing albatross, desperate for sky when his mother burst through the classroom doors. I can just picture his name falling like a tiny revolution from her mouth and overturning the silence that had conquered the room. Levi, they will come for you too. They will tell you to lift and work and laugh on cue. If you can't muster the emotion, then just fake it like all the other good robots do. Be human, be like me, be a social butterfly with gender normative wings. Smile big, smile pretty, be quarterback, point guard, cat talk, courageous, be bicep and jackhammer spark. Call the pretty girls ugly and mean it with all of your heart. Your scribbles are just scribbles, Levi. Don't dare call them art. Don't dare be an enigma. There is no space for your kind of beautiful here. No room for those Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner type visions that can spin shackles into vapor. We have seen what can happen when a mind goes unchained. We have built entire industries around keeping our modern day Michelangelos in check. How many children, how many masterfully written lives must be dashed into the ground before we can call this a genocide on creativity? Please, stop calling my little brother diseased. He's not sick. His mind is just an unmapped archipelago where every idea is a former slave gone free. So the next time they try to tell you that your neurons are a crime, little brother, you tell them this for me. Tell them that Levi is just shorthand for levitate, that your calling is to the clouds, and you would pay them a lot more attention, but you are simply too busy having a conversation with God right now. Then smile for them. Smile big, Smile pretty. Teach their wounded souls how to fly because you were made that way. A genius with jellyfish for words, a divine poem, destined for the sky. Thank you.
I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, pray for me. Pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, yeah. I need you to survive. I pray for you, pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm with words from my mouth. I love you, yeah.
admired man of this century. He was among the bravest and the wisest and the most visionary people I ever heard or saw or even read about. I mean, he was courageous and brilliant, and he changed my nation and my world in ways that I can't even begin to measure. And he has so much to do with the fact that you can take for granted that this room is filled with people who look like the people on this stage, and that I am standing here in all my unworthiness, speaking to you. He made that happen, that you could take that for granted. So how could I properly honor him? Sometimes I think about the fact that Dr. King was 26 years old when he became important in the civil rights movement. That's the age of Sky's big brother, my son Daryl. And I mean, I'm thunderstruck by that he could be that important and that brave and mean that much at 26. And then I think about those pictures, thank you, pictures just like this one. Not as a picture, but what did it feel like to be there? To have people spraying you with hoses, and to have people throwing things at you and spitting in your face every day. And to be Dr. King, and to understand that your courage was encouraging people to call your home and tell your children that they could die that day, and that the person on the other line would be happy to do the job. What did that feel like? And when I think about that kind of courage, I'm awed, but I also, the tendency is to do something that I think Dr. King would hate for me to do, and it's to feel immobilized by my own weaknesses, rather than energized by his courage. You know, bravery, we think of it as being fearless, but it really isn't. It's about feeling fearful and maybe even terrorized, and still being able to react and to behave courageously. On Monday's holiday, I visited the Martin Luther King Memorial with Sky and his dad, and I was struck by all the unremarkable, ordinary people who come there. Some of them with their babies who couldn't have any idea what they were looking at. And they stood under this cold blue sky to honor this man who probably didn't even know he was remarkable, until history demanded that he find and accept his extraordinariness. So I think of courage, I really do, as a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you flex it, the stronger it gets. And all the King did was he just kept flexing, you know, over and over and over again. And so I encourage you to find and to flex your courage. You know, you'll have opportunities today. I guarantee you'll have them tonight. And as you do that, you know, to maybe rise to the extraordinariness in you and in your one irreplaceable life, and maybe change your world. Thank you.